Let's do this.
It's time for Hanging with Langan.
I like that she's got a big dirty mouth that gets her in trouble.
Wow.
Stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time.
Hi, you guys. It's Maureen. It's me. It's Maureen. Are you there? So happy that you are hanging with Langan. This is my chat show where I combine my journalism background with my comedy world to bring you a show that is fun, has heart, and is smart. That is the goal of every show. And I chat with everyone from academics to alcoholics. We're usually the comics, and comics to cooks to curmudgeons. So we bring a nice mix. And I am so excited. So I hope that if you are watching this, you must share this. Just share. You'll see it right on whatever page you're watching this on. Maureen Langan's so professional. She has many places from where to watch this. But share it, because what I am bringing you tonight are 3 of my comedy buddies who have all landed roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I mean, it is the hottest show on television. And, we're in this crazy business. I'm going to get to them in just a moment, but you better share. It's only fair. It shows you care. And if you don't share, Don't Make Me Hate You. Oh, the t-shirt over my shoulder? That's my Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt, available at maureenlangan.com, as well as masks and so many other things. All right, let's get to it. Are you sharing this? Let everybody know that they can watch. My friends. So, we've been isolated the past year, most of us in this world, but performers particularly. I have not been on a live appearance stage since March 12th, 2020. And I'm going through some of my photos and things are popping up on Facebook. And I go, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, Maureen Langan, you know so many really cool people. And because they're in your world, you don't take them for granted. It's just that you're like, oh my God, that's right. You're the big shot. And they're not, because they're so down to earth. So I have invited 3 of my comedy friends tonight to join me here on Hanging with Langan, a special time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And I think we might keep this time rolling because a lot more people are getting back to work. And I want you to tune in. And next week, I have Women of the White House, the author of this book. How great is this? The illustrated story of the first ladies of the United States of America. Love it. All right. So I'm going to bring them on one at a time. So excited. All right. Are you sharing this? Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage first, my buddy. We both used to make money. We both had dental plans once upon a time. Ellen Karis is the Greek goddess of comedy. She has performed all over North America. I don't think she hasn't. With people like Drew Carey, JJ, Jimmy Walker, Dynamite, and so many others. If you've worked with her, she's smart. She's sharp. She is a dynamo. And she is hanging with Langan, my buddy, Ellen Karis.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mo. I love this concept. When I got your email, it was like, that's right. Maisel, comics. We're there. I'm so excited. I couldn't believe it that you thought outside the box, like you always do, that we should get a couple of comedians that have been on Maisel on your show.
Well, it's such a no-brainer. And hello, Missy, because I'm so supportive of you and you are of me. I don't know why that's not front and center on your website, as seen on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel with these beautiful, what photos? Oh, those photos you mean? Should those be front and center? You mean this one too? Hello. Yes, they should. And we're going to talk about what roles you played. We're going to bring in the other 2 performers. We've all began together. Ladies and gentlemen, he plays Dougie. Ellen plays a waitress. And my friend Ken Perlstein, let me give you a couple of his credits as I bring him on. He has guest starred in Showtime City on the Hill, HBO's Succession opposite Kieran Culkin. And his pilot, which I watched, which he executive produced, is How Am I Doing? And it's hitting the festival circuit. Please, without further ado, Mr. Ken Perlstein.
Nice.
Hi, Ken.
Hey.
We're going to get into all the stuff you've done on Mrs. Maisel. And you've been like killing it, man, with all these guest star appearances all over the place.
It's it's work, but it's good. I'm grateful to have it.
I feel your pain, you poor thing. It's work. You're kidding me. Like really. You have made a mark for yourself, and I was blown away by your demo tape. I was like, look at all this my friend has done.
Thank you.
And without further ado, I have known this guy from the Friars Club. He's a 3-time Emmy award-winning actor, writer, comedian, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He played Miles Shapiro, the MC, and the Catskills. And we'll talk about whether that was, a caricature or if that's really how the Catskills are. That's how the Catskills really are. He is the author of Good Luck, Mr. Gorski. That's a novel. And he's a fine artist. And I was blown away by that. Welcome, Mr. David Konig.
Oh, I'm on. Oh, this is. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear them? I can't hear them.
You guys chat amongst yourselves while I figure this out.
We were talking amongst ourselves when you weren't there right before we went on air. Yeah, we were.
You keep talking. We'll try and figure out how to plug this in.
All right, we're going to put you. You want us to put you in the back for a moment until
I don't care. I don't care what you do.
There we go. So we get it sorted out. I want to know, let's start with this. How did you land your roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? Ellen, you play a waitress.
I do.
In a diner.
Yes. It's the Stage Deli. And we are now in our 4th season. So as a matter of fact, I just worked last Friday and I worked the month before that. So I started on the 2nd season. And I honestly think that I got the gig because I fit into that uniform. So and I have to tell you, when I first went for the fitting, I mean, it is tiny. I'm tiny.
You are
tiny. And I remember the button around my waist was a little tight. And I remember that one of the costume women were like, one said, how does it look on her? And it's like, oh, okay. Is that a little tight? And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I couldn't breathe, but it's like, it's fine. It's fine. And then the other one goes, because if it doesn't fit, we'll have to get somebody else. Like, oh, it's going to fit. It's totally, it's going to fit. I'm not going to eat. I'm a hunger strike. I am like Kate Moss.
Oh my God, you're like Navalny in Russia. That's not good.
Yeah,
That's not healthy.
That honestly, I think is really how I got it. And my big fear was after the year of this, being home and the grazing and the binge eating, and I love sweets and chocolate. When I got the email to come in for the fitting, and it's the same uniform, by the way, I was like in panic mode. So, but thank God I do work out, and I think that really was my saving grace. So I still fit in the uniform, so I still have a job.
So are you telling me honestly, do you believe that if you didn't fit into that, they would rather just get somebody who can fit than adjust the outfit? That could be, you don't know.
Oh no, I totally believe that. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So what I want to know, and I'll ask Ken this now, how did you land the role? Where did you audition? Who called you in? Tell people. I know how it works, but many people don't. Let me ask Ken first.
Okay. Well, I finally got representation that was sending me out to decent stuff. And they got me into Cindy Tolan casting, and that's where you have to go. And she's great. The one thing you have to remember with Maisel is that you can't ad-lib. Not try to ad-lib. Not one. None of that shit.
Really?
Nope. And you just got to have the timing down. It's really quick. Ellen knows. And
Langdon knows. I would do very well. Okay.
Well, absolutely. So I got in there 3 different times, for different roles there. And then the 3rd time was the charm. I got a call the next day from my agent. He said, you're going to the Navy Yard for a callback. And it was...
well, for people who don't know, where's the Navy Yard?
It's a Brooklyn Navy Yard. It's
okay,
a huge set of studios now.
Steiner Studios.
Steiner Studios, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I just remember I didn't want to, be late or fuck everything up. So I took an Uber. And I just remember just being lucky that I was there. Like, no matter what happens today, even if I don't, book this, at least I got to be in front of Dan and Amy Palladino. I mean, that was a oh shit moment. But they were great.
Fantastic. I love hearing this. Now I'm going to bring Dave Konig in a moment, but Ellen, I want to hear how who casts the marvelous Mrs. Maisel again?
Cindy Tolan.
Cindy Tolan?
Tolan, yes.
So Ellen, how did you get called? Ellen is of Greek descent. Ellen is a committed woman. She's passionate about her culture, her history, her religion, and she shares it with such love. And we know stereotypically who are the waitresses at diners? And who are they owned by?
The Greeks.
The Greeks.
Although this, I believe, would probably be a Jewish diner. But as we know, when it comes especially to the restaurant business, the Jewish and Greeks are incredibly similar. Well, similar actually in a lot of ways, but certainly that. And I think that's a great point. Mine was more based on a look. And I think because I look like I would work in a diner because of the whole Greek thing, I think that helped a lot. The dark hair, I think, helped a bit. I think more women had darker hair. It's New York. I mean, I just look like I fit in that place. And funny too, and big kudos, and we can get into it if you want, but to the hair and the makeup people.
They were awesome.
We're going to get into that later because
they are true artists, but they also look at you and know what they can do and how they can transform you.
Yeah.
So, but mine was more from a look, and mine was Grant Wilfley casting. So they cast a lot of background. Mine was considered, though, a featured background.
I screamed the first time I saw you delivering a dish to the table because I didn't know you were on the show. Same thing with Ken. I'm like, what's happening? I get really happy. And then I get angry that I'm not on the show. No, I don't. I get very happy for people. My guests are comics who have been on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel or on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Shout out to Joy who's watching and to Annette. Share this, you guys. Hi, Peter. Share this. We want people tuning in. That's what matters here. And, it's always on all the major podcast platforms. But check it out here. So, Ellen, Karis, Ken Perlstein. Let's bring in my friend Dave Konig, who's out of his friggin' mind. But here he is. Hi, Dave.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Ken can hear me. Ellen can hear me, but Maureen can't.
Yeah. I'm just fucking with you. But anyway, hey, Paul Hamilton watching. David, I've worked with you so often. You're a fantastic natural MC. It's in your blood. It's what you do. You're not as schmaltzy as Miles Shapiro. But I would like to show a clip of you as Miles Shapiro.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm going to put you in that back room, Mr. Okay.
I hate the lighting, by the way. My lighting is terrible here. Don't you think it's terrible? I'm all washed up. Ken looks great. Ellen looks great. You look great. I look like the ghost of an old Jew. I don't know what happened here.
No, you look fine. You look like
the world. All right, go ahead.
I want to show a clip of you playing Miles Shapiro. This is at a club at the Catskills on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Here we go. Check this out, you guys.
No, but my wife is great. But get this, she's jealous of our toilet because I spend more time on it than I do on her. She says I should be more attentive in bed. Now, I'm in bed. I'm not fast asleep. I'd say that's pretty damn attentive. Because it doesn't help much that I'm going bald on top, but I got hair growing out of the tops of my toes.
You want a drink? I'm good. This guy's nothing. You can beat him. It's not a competition. Well, yeah, it kind of is. You gonna do the shopping bit?
It's not ready yet.
I thought it went good the other night.
It's not ready.
Okay. You have a thread.
You're up next.
Finally.
Let's go. Thank you. I'm Miles Shapiro. I'll be at the Trap in Hoboken for a full week in December. So hop on the H&M. Come on out and keep me company. Good night, everybody. Next up onto the stage, a pretty lady with a lot to say. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Maisel.
Hey, wait. We didn't do tits up. Tits up. Tits. Good evening, everyone.
See, the lighting is much better on the show than in my room here.
All that matters, David Konig. That's all that matters, baby. Such a great role. And because I know you, it's you plus...
It's me plus very bad jokes. Yes.
Oh, I thought you wrote that. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't write a word of that. No. None of that was written by me.
It's saw you in that role. Didn't know any of you were on this show. And you scream when it's somebody you know.
Imagine how I felt.
How did you book it? Tell us.
How did I book the job?
Yeah.
All right. The first season, they bring me in a bunch of times. Parts I'm not right for, I never get anything. But obviously, they must have liked something about me because they kept bringing me in. Now, nothing happens first. Second season rolls around, right? First episode of the second season, they bring me in to audition for a part of an off-camera voice, okay? I'm a guy calling on the phone. I book the part. Now, I'm irritated and upset because I don't want, I'm thinking I got to get on this show. I got to get on this show. I get on the show and it's an off-camera voice. I said, that's no, but they said, no. It's okay. It won't preclude you from coming back and auditioning for another role. I said, okay, great. So I booked. So the first episode in the first scene of the second season.
And this is the math equation. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Susie's at home and she gets a call and it's a booker from Philadelphia. That's me, and I want to book Mrs. Maisel, and we have a funny little phone call. So that's what I booked. Now, before I go in to shoot that, they call and they say, would Dave, as a favor, would it be okay? Could he come by and be a reader at a table read for another episode? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So they bring me in now for your viewers who don't, the first thing you do with a script is you get the cast around and you have a table read. Everybody sits around the table. Sometimes when they haven't, it's an episode that has yet to be shot and they haven't fully cast it yet. They have the regular cast there. And then for all the other parts, they bring in a couple of actors generically to read the other parts. So I had booked the off-camera voice. Now they bring me in to do the table read before I shoot the off-camera voice. Okay. I'm doing the table read. The whole cast is there. Amy Palladino Sherman does something nobody else does. She gets a big audience for her table reads.
Oh.
No one does this.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm surprised.
Huge. She packs them in. She gets an audience, literally like 150, 200 people at Steiner Studios in a big room. And
that's in Queens, right?
That's in Brooklyn. That's the old Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Yeah, that's what you said.
And I once had an audition for another show at the Brooklyn Navy Yard when it first opened up, and I was irritated because it was such a schlep to get out there. And I called a buddy of mine, an older fella, and he said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I'm really irritated. I got to take a subway and a bus, and it's for a part with one line. It's one line. A man of my stature, one line, and I got to go all the way out to the Brooklyn Navy Yard." And my friend Joe says to me, he says, "Well, if it makes you feel any better, the last time I was at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, they shipped me off to Vietnam."
There you go. There you go.
Okay. So anyway, now I'm doing the table read, and there's an audience, 200 people, and one of the parts I'm reading in the table read is a part of an MC at a comic, and he's warming up the crowd in the script, and I see this in advance, and I think, this is great. I could get this part. I'm going to show them what I can do. I'm a comic, and I'm playing a comic who's warming up a crowd, and I have a crowd.
In the Catskills is where it's set.
Well, no, in this,
but in your head, you've been there.
Right. So everything's going fine. Everything's going fine. It gets to my part. I'm warming up the crowd. I start ad-libbing. Ken, because I'm a comic and I'm playing a comic and I'm warming up a crowd and I know how to do this. So I'm working with the crowd that's actually there. And so whatever the line was in the script, say the line was, you ready for a big night of comedy? I say, you ready for a big night of comedy? And then and I get the audience there to react to me because I can do that. And then I say, oh, no, that's not good enough. I'm, as the MC, I'm contractually obliged to ask the question twice. So are you ready for a big night of comedy? Well, none of this was in the script. So I get a big reaction from the audience. We go around, and then Amy Palladino Sherman, she's reading the stage directions, okay? And when I finish with that, she reads the stage direction for the next part, and she says, the camera will now pan over to Maureen at the bar, who will read her lines exactly as written.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there, because I thought I was the hero of the day, and I'm sitting there going, oh.
Oh, boy. What, they booked you in it? Dave?
I call my manager on the way out, and we finish with the table read. No one says a word to me, and I see Kevin Pollak across the table. I do this, and he's like this. He's like, "Oh gosh," because it's I didn't know, strictly verboten. You don't touch a syllable. You don't touch a punctuation mark. This is Palladino Sherman. You don't touch her writing.
Ken, jump in on that part, because you had said earlier you can't. Do they tell you this, Ellen and Ken? Do they say exactly?
First of all, I was at the table read for season 3 for the very first episode, so there's a very large crowd. Amy's doing the stage directions. It's really it's beautiful. It's beautifully set, nice food, but it's controlled. Cindy Tolan told me because I ad-libbed something in one of the first things I came in for.
So much
It was a big deal. It was somebody, I was auditioning for like the manager of a club that caught fire. I'm like, hey, come on, everybody, let's get out of here. Don't stick around. And she goes, there's no, let's not stick around in here. There's no stick around. And she goes, yeah, not one word can you ad-lib. Let's do this again. Not one word. So I learned really
I get
quick.
so anxious. Does that make you anxious though? I would be, because my brain.
I'm glad it was her. I'm glad it was Cindy and not Amy Palladino. I felt for you, Dave.
She gave me a look of death. So I'm leaving the studio. I'm calling my manager and I said, I don't know what I did. I screwed up. Everyone hates me. I lost the job. They're not going to have me back. Anyway, I go in the next week. I shoot the episode of the off-camera voice. It was all in my head. Amy gave me a big hug. Everybody, it was great. So now I'm dying to get on the show for real because I've only done a voice. And it's only 10 episodes. And the time is elapsing. And they're not bringing me in for anything. Finally, they bring me in for something for episode 8 of the second season. And it's a part of an agent at the deli. And I'm negotiating a deal. Now, I had a good week. I had a good month that month. I had already booked a couple of days on the blacklist, right, with James Spader. And this episode of Maisel, they wanted me to come in and audition for, was shooting the same day as the blacklist. So I called my agent. I said, I don't know if I should go in on this because it's the same day as the black. And the agent went, go in anyway. It's a chance for them to see you again. Now, that works beautifully if you don't book the job. But I booked the job. So now I'm booked on Maisel and Blacklist at the same time.
Oh, no. What do you do?
I stress, I panic, phone calls back and forth, crisis of the century, summit meetings, and a decision had to be made. And I had to make the decision to do the Blacklist. So they had to call Maisel back and say, you wanted him, but you can't have him.
If you are a pain in the ass, they're like this freaking guy. He doesn't follow the words. He's on the blacklist. You're on their blacklist. You're on their
He's wanted. He's wanted by everyone.
Exactly. I'm convinced that they hate my guts now even more than ever. So then the next episode is episode 9, nothing for Dave Konig. Okay. And now I figure I've blown it. This is it. It's done. Episode 10, the last episode of the season.
Yes.
They bring me in.
They do.
They audition me for a role. I leave the casting director's office. I go to Eisenberg's. I order a tuna fish sandwich. I sit down, I'm eating my sandwich. I get a call from the agent. Can you go back to the casting office? They want to read you for another part. I go back, I read for the other part. I leave. I get a call from the agent. The part you just read for, they don't want you for that, but they want you for something else.
Jesus.
And you don't have to read for it. They already booked you. You're in. So that was it. So then I went and I did the scene.
And then you became Miles Shapiro, the MC of the Catskills. And I want to get, David, we're going to talk about a bit like the different settings where you guys are and where you did all this. But Ellen, I'm curious. I want to show Ken's clip. I didn't do that.
I do want to add one thing real quick.
Yes, please.
So,
2 things.
Here's the thing. So the role I go in for, it's one of the bookers at the deli. And I'm in wardrobe, and I've seen them shooting at the deli for over a year before I was ever, invited in an audition. And I said to the costume person, "You guys wouldn't happen to shoot on 82nd Broadway?" Just, oh yeah,
that deli that was there, yeah,
right. That's my building.
So
it was the easiest commute. It was the easiest.
So what is the deli, Ellen, that they're shooting in?
It was called Artie's?
Yeah, it was Artie's.
Artie's. It's on Broadway between 82nd and 83rd, and it was vacated a few years ago. And that whole production is so talented, from Amy and Daniel on down. I mean,
explain who Amy and Daniel are for people who are in the business.
Amy Sherman Palladino and her husband Daniel Palladino are the creators, and they're also the writers. They are completely hands-on producers of that show. Amy is also known for not Gossip Girl, Gilmore Girls. Excuse me. She comes from, her father was a writer, so she comes from that pedigree.
Her father he was a comic. He worked on ships.
Oh, I'm not IMDb. I know he was a writer for a couple of shows.
No, he was a ship comic.
She is very sharp.
Yeah.
She is from what these guys said, it's so on point. Everything there is so specific, from like when they hand me, it's got to be pastrami. It can't have a bite in it. It's got to be a knish. If I gave this guy a rugula, I mean, the level of detail, the props, it's just incredible. So the words, it's all part of it. It's all part of the detail. Again, the costume, what they look like, the mannerisms. I mean, I don't wear my wedding ring because it's too modern, so like obviously I'm a waitress, so I come with nothing. They give me the little earrings, and again, the hair, makeup, which we could talk about. But
I do want to we will talk about that.
Very, 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 very specific. And by the way, I have seen, because I've stood there long enough, where Rachel, and I do a lot of scenes where it's Rachel and Mrs. Maisel and Susie, and the script person is right there, and they're always asking for line, or Amy will say, you didn't say, I can't do the gig. You said I won't do the gig or something. She'll totally correct them, even the stars.
Is she OCD? Do you think she has a little OC? Is she
No,
healthy?
she's really successful.
I know.
I would be the same way. It's just interesting because you'll have my guests are my comedy friends who have landed gigs, roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. A shout out, Tom is watching. Want to say people tune in, and they're all from all over the place. Tom, and then we got Tim. Thank you guys for tuning in. Very specific. And then you see shows like Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm, where they welcome just go for it. Here's your little line in the sand, and just go. I would do better with that. I would be like Catholic school. Oh my God, I missed a word. I'm going to get in trouble. Sister Teresa's going to hit me and punch me in the face. I'm like, I just get like, oh. So I want to show a clip of you playing the agent Dougie.
Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh. Here's Ken Perlstein. It's a short little clip. I wish we had more, but it's just
You sent me both clips, right?
I only have one clip of you, and then the big. That's all I got. Maybe I missed something. Hold on. Here we go.
Dougie, Margie? From way back. She's doing the telethon.
Go vouch for my girl?
Done deal.
Okay, because it was so short, we're going to play it again.
Dougie, Margie? From way back. She's doing the telethon.
Go vouch for my girl?
Done deal.
But you know what? I think 3 times lucky. Sorry.
Dougie, Margie? From way back. She's doing the telethon.
Go vouch for my girl?
Done deal.
There's more of Ken in that scene because I know that scene. That's a funny scene. And the reason I know that scene is because I was supposed to play the other agent in that scene.
You were supposed to play Kenny?
I was, whatever the other guy's name was. That was the one I booked, and I was doing the blacklist that week.
The other scene I sent you was episode 1 of season 3. I was in there with the other booker, and I was in there with another really good actor named Andrew Polk, who plays Fred, who always talks to Susie, which is Alex. So we were all, there's a scene where it's she's at the army barracks, and Susie's like, she's what should she ask for? And he goes, guys, what should she ask for? And the guy Kenny goes, she has to have a weird ask. And he goes, a weird ask? A weird ask. An ask, like what? Like, and then we go through all these things, and I'm like, oh yeah, Lenny Fring had the length of rope and a copy of Grey's Anatomy, and he's like, oh, I got to meet this Lenny Fring, And so we're just rattling off all this stuff, and it was a great scene. It was a lot.
I saw her on the phone with you. Have the weird ask. Alex was on the phone. Saying, I got to have, and she was talking to you. Oh yeah, that was a big clip. I did see that, but I didn't see. I wanted more of you. The other two were talking, so I decided to play the one of mostly of you 3 times. That's 21 seconds.
And wait, I'm sorry, Ken, I was there. What day you were there? You were on set.
Yeah.
Right. You were walking out, and I was like, Ken? So we were.
It was.
I had the whole costume thing on, so.
I wish I would have known, but it was great. It was a great experience. But you see how clippy the dialect is. It's really.
I did the show last week, and it was a little intel, but Jane Lynch, it's publicized, is on this season, and it was funny when they were talking about dialogue. They used the term "Maisel it up," which is that quickness that of the way that they speak. If you notice, they all speak everybody speaks very
It's got to be so.
Very staccato.
Maiselness.
Because all the characters.
Maisel it up. That's what I'm
Right.
sorry.
And if
Maisel
you've
it
got
up.
a table full of the characters and you're all working together, it's really got to be timed perfectly with each person.
Because it's implied but not actually said that all the characters are meth addicts. So that's why there's a constant stream of fast dialogue.
Done deal. Great. I saw her at the, yeah, she's great. Done deal. I got her.
You know what interests me, though? I'm blown away by how great a comedic actress Rachel is, Mrs. Maisel, because we're all performers. She's not a stand-up comic. And in this role, she has I am blown away by her talent. Now, have you folks had scenes with her? I know you have, Ellen. Tell me the scenes you've had and what it's like. Who have you worked with and what scenes? How does it feel? Paint me that picture.
Rachel is very sweet. She makes eye contact with everybody. She walks in, she says hello. She really looks like a Cupid doll. She's got the perfect porcelain skin. She looks great in everything that they put her in. And I actually got to talk to her. She did this, she had won the SAG award a couple of years ago. And I don't know if you guys remember, when she received her award for 2 solid minutes, and they get 3 minutes to thank people, she thanked the background actors and how important everybody is to that show. I mean, she went on. If you ever get a chance to Google it, it was so warming. And it wasn't just like, oh, thank you. It was like a 2-minute, really like, we are so grateful for the long hours that everybody puts in. So I said to her, I said, that was amazing. And thank you so much. And she was like, I wish I didn't have to even point that out because you guys are so important. She really comes from a place of gratefulness, but she's very
all down to earth. I mean,
very
Alex, seen her. That clip you just showed. So beforehand, it was towards the end of the day, and Alex comes up. She goes, we're just talking because they're from Chicago, and my wife went to Highland Park, which is where Rachel went. So we're all talking about Chicago and all that stuff. And Alex is like, "Do you want to run lines? Because we're up next. Let's run some lines." And we're just shooting the shit and running lines, And I'm like, "That's
normal people."
Yeah, like normal people. I'm like, that's Alex Perlstein. Oh my God, she's running lines with me.
It's funny, that was not my experience. Rachel and Alex were monsters when I worked with them. I was instructed not to make eye contact, and it was very uncomfortable.
Here's that guy again. He's back again. I heard you auditioned for the role of Mrs. Maisel's mother. Is that true too? They wanted you for that too, David?
Yeah, they wanted me for everything. No, but the thing about Rachel's a sweet. They're very nice people, and when I did that Miles Shapiro thing, so then Mrs. Maisel gets up and she performs her stand-up act, and the thing about there's one take. They need one take. She did it a couple of times. The audience laughed, but they needed one take clean with no audience reaction for editing purposes. So she had to get up there and do her act to total dead silence. And she said to me, she said, even though she knows she says, this really, I hate this so much because, she's doing stand-up and not getting any reaction at all.
Well, you know what that feels like.
I know. He's like open mic in the lantern,
nightly for years, but she does. So. Yeah.
Well, that's how we are on the Zoom. That's how it feels when you have to perform on Zoom. It took a while to get comfortable with that, right? Hey, you guys are talking.
I'm not comfortable with it at all. So
it's off. Well, I've learned how to do a little crowd work with all of it. If you're listening and you want to, you have a question, these are my buddies, Ken Perlstein, Dave Konig, and Ellen Karis, all who've landed roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Feel free to email us, make your comments. I know you guys are excited. And if you share this, and it should be going live on my event page as well as Hanging with Langan group and my feed. So if that's not happening for you, let me know, but I think it is now. I'm going to put you guys just in the back room a moment while I take a commercial break. Just momentarily. We'll be right back. Your regularly scheduled programming. So what I want to do, we'll take your questions. Thank you. I see you guys putting those up already. Great. I'll be doing the show Hanging with Langan at this new time. We're going to keep this going, see how that works for everybody. 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays and 6 p.m. Pacific. Next week, I have the author of Women of the White House, Amy Russo, an illustrated story of the First Ladies of the United States of America. It's really cool. I love this stuff. Great gifts for everyone. And also, if you like the shows, I keep them coming for you. We'll give you great quality shows, and by we, I mean me, from academics to alcoholics, curmudgeons and comics and cooks. So it's all free, but I ask, pay what you can, if you can. Only if you can. These are tough times for everybody, but some of you are making a boatload of money. So pay what you can, if you can, at paypal.me/Mo Langan and Venmo @Mo Langan. Or you can subscribe, a monthly subscription at patreon.com/Maureen Langan. But what do I get when I subscribe? You get backstage treats and chats and Dish the Dirt and things that you won't get, extras. I give you extras. And at $25, I will give you a Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt, which is over my shoulder. And if you prefer, see, look at this. You can go to my store too at maureenlangan.com. and get masks, t-shirts, coasters, get cool in the waves of the pool. Here we have Don't Make Me Hate You masks, because you don't want to hate people. They make you hate them. You're a victim. Speaking of which, my dry bar comedy special coming out early summer. It's called Don't Make Me Hate You. And very excited. Yay! Yay! All right. So those are ways you can support. And everything's at Maureen Langan. Really appreciate it, you guys. Never met Ken, but hello, Ken. Nice to see you, Ellen, Maureen, and Dave. I got to see what names are associated with these. If you're watching this on Hanging with Langan group page, please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and just click on the blue line, and I'll be able to see your name associated with your comments. But we can still see your comments. All right, let's bring back our guest. She plays the waitress in the diner. I think it's the stage diner on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, my good friend. And you can find her at Greek. Well, she'll tell us where you can. This stupid smelly thing. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, my buddy Ellen Karis. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, sweetie. Yep, at Greek Chick Comic on Twitter and Instagram. Yep, that's me.
There we go. EllenKaris.com, Greek Chick Comic. And you play the waitress.
I play one of the waitresses. And I just want you to know also that unlike the guys, I do have to suffer for my art. And for the last 3 seasons, I've had to get my hair chopped off for the part because all the women have to have short hair. And this last haircut was a doozy.
I saw you posting on Facebook going, I'm not happy about this.
I morphed into a 12-year-old boy is basically what they did to me. But
you always look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. But yes, so that was but it's worth it. My husband's like, you come home crying all the time. I'm like, but it's Mrs. Maisel. I got to do it.
Because that was the style of the times, right?
Right. I think long hair was the 70s, and I'm not quite sure we're going to get that far. So we're like in 1961 this season. So.
And how many times have you appeared on the show as the waitress?
First season. Season 2. I was on. I was on once, or maybe once, and then maybe another episode really quick. And then last season I was on 3 times. And this season, so far, I've filmed twice. So
that's so exciting. When is it debuting again? When is it coming?
I don't know exactly, but if I had to take a guess, I would think toward the end of the year, probably about December.
Oh, wow. We have to wait that long.
I think so. Last year it was December also. Yeah, that would be my guess. They're probably going to finish, if all things go well, what are we in April? Probably like end of June, maybe July. I don't know, because I remember last year or the 2 years ago they went to the Catskills. They did Paris one year. I don't think they're doing any traveling this year.
Oh man, that is fantastic.
Yeah. I don't get out of the diner, but other people I'm talking about.
Oh, man. Oh, it's so exciting. All right, let's bring back the other 2. Ken Perlstein, he plays Dougie, the booker on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. How many scenes have you done so far, Ken? How many episodes?
I've done 2 episodes. So,
wow.
Season 3 was weird because season 3, I did the first episode of that season, and then they told me to block out dates for 2 other episodes. They didn't end up calling me in for that, and then so far this year, they said there's nothing written in as of yet.
Well, I think it's a very good role, and I think you play it really well, and you really stand out, and I love seeing you in the diner. And let's bring in Maisel Shapiro, the from the Catskills.
Yes.
Friend Dave Konig. Yes. So I want to hear too, like, Dave, you play the Catskills MC, and I have heard this has been feedback. Some people have been upset by how some Jews are portrayed on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. This is just stuff I've read because you have the classy family like the Maisels, and then you have Kevin Pollak. Hey, yeah, come here, Bumpy, yeah. And I am not Jewish, but I'm from New York, so I'm Jewish. I have skills a zillion times, and I can vouch that Kevin Pollak character and his wife, they really exist. Your comment, Dave?
Me personally, my comment is speaking for all Jews everywhere.
Yeah, so I just mean your experiences about the role of the Catskills. Would you tell people that's all?
Maisel Shapiro was actually in a comedy club in New York. He wasn't in the Catskills, but that doesn't matter. It's all the same shtick anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But he was clearly a Catskills comic, so you're right on the money.
Totally.
I was actually performing in the Catskills. After not doing anything for 14 months because of the pandemic, I've had 2 gigs in the past 3 weeks. Do you know what they were? I will tell you. You don't know. It's a rhetorical question. How could you possibly know? One was I was up in the Catskills. I did a Passover show at a hotel in the Catskills for an audience of Orthodox and Hasidim.
That's fun. That's a fun gig. Good times.
And then a week later, you know where I was? I was in Provo, Utah, performing for the Mormons doing dry bar. So I went from the Hasidim to the Mormons.
Dry bar is one of the best gigs I've ever done, and I was shocked. I almost didn't do it. They call it dry bar, you guys, because it's dry. Like there's no alcohol. They're Mormons, but they really prefer you don't curse. You can, but you get warnings next to your recording for everything that you can't say God, you can't say hell or damn. You can, but you'll get these little markers. So they put it out internationally. So the more user-friendly it is, the more hits you get, the more money you make. So I'm up there. I said that Martha Stewart has single-handedly set women back hundreds of years with all this resurgence of knitting and quilting. Stitch and bitch societies are popping up all across America. They said, could you please change stitch and bitch to stitch and snitch? I go, wait, you want me to go stitch and snitch? What am I doing? Stitch and snitch? I'm going up now. Stitch and snitch? What? So I'm very fast paced. You guys know that. So I'm like, stitch and bitch societies are popping up. I go, stitch and snitch society. But, they were the best people. I thought they were fantastic.
They're lovely people. And they sent the video saying, here's what you should avoid in your set. Don't curse, don't do this, don't do that. One of the things they said is avoid dark topics. No darkness. Evil, dark, bad.
Yeah, dark. Yeah, we got.
So I did 2 sets because you do 2 shows. The first show I closed with my classic iPhone routine. Gets a big response. I say goodnight, everybody. Great. Second show, I do the iPhone routine, and I feel it doesn't quite get the big response I need to get off the stage. So I rapidly pull something out of the filing cabinet that I had not planned on doing, and it's a joke I do. I will not bore you with it, but it's about how my grandparents were married for 72 years, and one died and the other one died right after. Like they can't live without each other, and I pull the audience in very quiet. I said, talk about true love, and then I said, granted, in their case, it was a murder-suicide, and then that gets a big laugh. So the director comes running up to me after the show. And she says, "Oh, I know exactly how I'm going to edit your shows. we're going to close with that murder-suicide joke." I said, "Great." So no dark, nothing dark, but my dry bar special will end with me saying murder-suicide. Thank you very much.
Well, they're a lot cooler, but they're just giving you guidelines because they're so, we know the total.
They're Mormons. They're giving you guidelines because they're Mormons.
You go try to find a glass of wine when you're out there. That took a long time for me. But
it's kind of a dry town, right?
But you do 2 shows so they can pluck and put together. I was very impressed with the tape they put together, top notch. Good. Now, Ken, so this Mrs. Maisel, you're hoping to get back to play Dougie the Bookie again. Were you nervous at all playing these roles because you had to be so specific, or are you just like, because you're such an actor and you've done, just so you know, I want to let people know that Ken Perlstein, you have been, you have guest starred in Showtime City on the Hill. You have been on HBO Succession, and you have a pilot you put together called How Am I Doing? So you're an actor, you're trained, but do you get nervous?
And Mrs. Maisel, I was nervous during rehearsal. So you come out, you do you come out of your trailer, they got your hair done, but you got your regular clothes on, come out with your script, and you do the, sit around the table and you do the rehearsal. And I kept blowing one line. This was like season 3 with like everybody at the table. And I felt so bad, and the PA guy who was holding the script, he's like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just do it again." And he was like, "Just do it again. Just do it again. It's one line. There you go. You had 2 lines. Here you go. Boom. You did." And I was just hyper, sensitive on myself. You know how that goes. I mean, like, when Dave, they sat around the table and you did your comedy spiel, like, "Oh my God, she fucking hates me." All you're going is, "Oh my God, they think I'm such a horrible actor. I can't even do this." So I'll tell you one quick story. It was my first co-star. Was on The Americans, and
oh, you did? You had a role in The Americans?
Yeah. It was a co-star. It was the first co-star role I ever had.
Were you a good guy or a Russian spy?
No, I was a diner manager.
You're good at that. You're good in the diner settings, Ken. I see a niche for you.
Same thing. Pick up a broom, sling a plate, be a booker. I mean, what else you got to do? So we're getting to my last scene. It's at the end of the night, and they cut my scene down from. I had a whole 2 pages with Stan, the FBI guy, in that, and then they cut it down to 2 words. "We're closed." So I have to see him through a window. So he's on the outside knocking, and the diner's closed up. And Tommy Schlammy is the director. He's done a lot of stuff. And so the first 2 takes we go, and the third one, I look and I go, "We're closed." And then he shows his badge, and I'm supposed to go. And I guess I did it too big, and he comes running in there. He goes, "Cut, cut, cut. Dave, you overacted. That was overacting."
Oh.
Who said this to you? What mean person said this to you?
You should have told him he underdirected it.
That was the director, and I wanted it over. I wanted the show over. I wanted my stuff over, and the PA was really nice there. He's like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine. Let's just do it again. It's fine. You're gonna be fine."
I hate that director.
And I nailed it. And he came in. He's like, "That was perfect."
Just the way he was. Yeah. Any idiots on the that you don't like working with on the Mrs. Maisel, you guys?
I'm not crazy about Ken Perlstein. I'll tell you that right now.
Because he took your job. He took one of the roles.
That's right, damn it.
I have.
You could have been Kenny, not Dougie.
I like Tony Shalhoub. One of my favorite scenes is Chicken Fat. Go touch toes every morning. 10 times. I just love it. And then he's out there in that crazy underwear.
That's right. Yes.
Give that chicken fat. Do you guys not know Chicken Fat?
I remember him in his crazy.
Right. I remember the scene.
Whatever he was wearing, yeah.
Go, you chicken fat, go. All right. I'm ridiculous. What about the sets? Somebody's asking me here. Annette wants to know, how was it shooting recently during the pandemic? How are they adjusting all of that for you guys?
So it's, SAG has its own protocol. So all sets have a certain protocol. First of all, we have to get COVID tested. And I know when I went, last week I got COVID tested on a Wednesday and a Thursday, and I filmed on Friday. The first episode that I did like 4 COVID tests. I went the Tuesday and Wednesday before, and then the Tuesday and Wednesday of that week. And then we filmed on Thursday. So there's all that. Masks need to be worn when they say cut. So when they're not rolling. Very interesting. The other day, one of the background, we were rolling and they walked by and they had the mask on. And I'm like, your mask, take your mask off. No masks in 1961. So
not even in 1918 they were anti-maskers.
And, of course, there's hand sanitizers and all that. I mean, I wouldn't, I'm not going to sit here and say everybody was 6 feet apart. I mean, that definitely was not the case. But I think the biggest part about the pandemic is that it had stopped production for so long. And then they weren't sure. And then in the beginning about people being sick and all that other kind of stuff. So I think I had overheard Alex, I'm assuming she wouldn't mind me saying this, but like I heard her say she got vaccinated, and I think a bunch of them have gotten vaccinated. So it's, it seems to be, it's okay. I mean, it's a pandemic when everybody puts their mask on, but other than that, I think.
No, it's insane. Where is, it's filmed in New York City, Tom is asking, but is it also because, David, I made the mistake of thinking that Miles Shapiro was done in the Catskills when it was done at a club, because they have spent so much time in the Catskills.
Right, of course.
So that's
Miles is a very Catskills comic kind of guy. So yeah.
So do they do any shooting in the Catskills?
I don't know. My scene was shot in the Slipper Room downtown.
Oh.
I think when they did the Catskills, I know they went to upstate New York. Exactly where they went, I don't know, but that was filmed upstate.
And did they really film in Paris when?
I think they did go, but that was Rachel, her mother.
Yeah.
So
fun that's her mother. I mean, she's so, to me.
I know, right?
Erin Hinkle, right?
She was on 2.5 Men.
Yeah, she's great. She was also on 30 something or something, 20 something, 40 something back in the day. I don't know. Ken, I want to talk about what you're doing now, because you really are taking the bull by the horns, mister, and you've created your own pilot.
Yeah.
Talk to us about it. Tell us about that.
Well, it was something, it was the second thing I ever wrote. And I just thought, you know what? It was about 2016, 17. I'm like, I'm going to write something else. I had 5 other things on a burner. A few of them were dark. And I got together with a mentor who was a good writer, and he started challenging me on beginnings, middles, endings, writing scenes. And before I knew it, I had 30 pages. And for some reason, I knew the entire story of how this was going to go, how it's going to end. I had 72 pages for the first reading. So it's basically about a recovering alcoholic who's named Eli, who's going through divorce and trying to maintain a relationship with his 12-year-old daughter throughout the whole process, plus having to deal with his soon-to-be ex-wife's fiance, who's like a successful heart surgeon. So it's.
I'm going to give people, we'll play just like a minute of it here so people can see. This is, I like showing this, you guys, because these are my friends. They all work like dogs. This isn't something that gets handed to you. This is something you slug out. I mean, people give up a lot to do this. I know Ellen worked on Wall Street. She made money and had a dental plan like me. And then you go, oh, teeth are overrated. And you jump into it. And you think you're going to apply the same level of hard work as you do in, for me, the broadcasting world, for you, corporate world. And then you're like, oh, there's no game plan. There's no game plan in this business. There's no mapping at it. So you do a little bit you can to take control. I host my show. You do your
it's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. So you have to be the vehicle. I wrote a vehicle for myself.
Well, Ellen hands people things on a silver platter, but that's her work as in the diner. All right. What we'll do is just show a minute or so of it so people can get a sense of what you do, Ken, all right? Here we go.
I'm Eli. I'm an alcoholic.
Hello, Eli. Nice for you to show up for your daughter's event.
Fuck off. I'm an actor, and I mainly work in TV and film.
Eli and that mouth of his seems to be a problem, among other things.
Nick.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was still drunk from the night before.
Are you in anything now?
Well, sometimes a show closes and you just move on to the next. It's part of the business.
I see. He's not in anything at all.
I can identify with being lost, making the wrong choices and knowing it.
What a prick.
Stand Wall Street man.
That's what you called him?
Yeah, I was joking with him.
Were you?
How's that beach house rehab working out for you?
I have this demon. It tells me that drinking and using is gonna make it all okay again. Fear. Fear of losing my daughter. No, but Becca, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to embarrass you.
His dad was a dick.
I know, but come on now. You know, I have a fear of not working in my business.
I had another client leave me for another agent. Do you want to leave me too?
Your dad in there?
Yeah, he really needs his commercial.
Oh, and if you are booked, that belly needs to be shaved. This is a medical industrial, not searching for Bigfoot.
You know, you've been in this business a long time, Eli. You know that it runs in cycles.
Action.
You two can now try to recover from wallowing depression by stabbing yourself with a marker for an audition you're 20 years too young for.
Look at me.
Just look at the mistakes. Same mistakes.
I'm gonna be late.
It's okay. We're gonna be fine. We just got in a cab. I gotta go.
You're lying to her. We're not in a cab.
Hey, we will make it. I promise.
What, you could have asked for a different time?
It doesn't work out that way.
I don't care how it works. That's not Becca's problem. That's yours.
I struggled after that show ended. But I thought we were doing well again when you ended.
Eli, Nick proposed the other night and I accepted. We just set a date.
And in the back of my mind, it felt great to fail. Felt comfortable.
You always told me not to try to do everything all at once. And now you're trying to do it.
And now I'm missing out on everything.
Bye, Dad. Love you. Gotta go.
Hey, Becca, I love you too. But
family time.
All right. Yeah.
Oh my God. That was amazing.
I want to go up to that director who told you overacted and punch him right in the nose. Hell with that guy. That was great. I saw the great Jim O'Hare in that scene. I love that.
Oh
guy.
my God, you know Jim?
I know Jim a long time. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's one of my best friends.
Well, anyway, it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. That was great.
Thank you.
Yay.
I am so impressed. I watched the whole pilot last night because I'm dedicated to my field of work. And it's just so wonderful. You're a really great actor, Ken. You're a natural. And I know you've worked hard at it. Ding, ding. Ken Perlstein, boys and girls.
Yay. Yay.
This is what people say. Joy says it's great. Tom says very good, Ken. One of the things that's really interesting to me is I learn about my friends, other things they do that I never knew. I think, Dave, I've known you probably 20 years. I was blown away by this. Do you know that Dave Konig, DaveKonig.com, there it is a fine artist, like an artist. And all right, Maureen, shut up and say you're blown away. Look at this work.
That's called the Bronx Rat Pack is the name of that band.
That's really cool.
That's amazing.
Like a whole story in that picture.
All right.
And is this painting? This
is oil paints.
Oil.
Yeah. Yes, oil paints.
I love it.
With a brush.
I love it. No, but it's so, and I want to show another one. It's a self-portrait. Tom says, heart for the fine artist. Love the fine artist.
Oh,
That's
me. Those are all actual paintings I've done, and that's me painting the paintings I've done with a fez. I'm wearing a fez. That's my interpretation of this painting. I'm wearing a fez.
David, how long have you been painting, and how do people follow your work? Because I know that you're.
This is very strange. I've always drawn, but always pencil and ink, and I've always wanted to oil paint, but I never got around to it. And I started during the pandemic. I started about 8 months ago.
Jesus.
I got a gallery in Connecticut that shows my work, and called RPAC Gallery, and it's all there on the website, etc.
Give me the name of the gallery again.
RPAC Gallery in Ridgefield, Connecticut. And they show my work, and they have all my work on their website. And I've done about 20 paintings in the past 8 months or so.
RPAC Gallery, you guys, and Dave Konig.
That's it.
I can't believe you only just started painting like this.
I know. I'm phenomenally talented. I'm a very, very talented individual.
Even though you're humble and you're low-key, and even though you've never auditioned for anything on Mrs. Maisel and just happened to come your way accidentally,
They handed it to me on a silver platter.
They were finding something for you. They're like, just give this guy freaking a character and shut him up.
Shut him up already. Yeah.
Anyway, But I'm asking you this sincerely. I know you're wisest, but I'm asking you sincerely. Did you know you had that kind of talent in you to paint like that?
I've always been an artist. I've always drawn.
No idea.
The
drawing is different. The colors are so vibrant and.
Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm not shocked. I'm never surprised by what I do. I kind of know that I'm good.
This is the difference between the Jews and the Irish. My mother would be like, "You're good for nothing, wasting all that paint on a piece of paper. For the love of God, you don't think we can use it to paint a door by the bathroom?" That's how I would.
That's funny. My mother spoke the same way, and we're not Irish. I never understood it.
Well, you're married to a woman of Irish descent, and
I am married to a
name was Brady, and my grandmother was Brady, and they're both from County Cavan, Ireland. Hello.
Well, there you go. How about that? Or cousins of some kind.
Something like
that.
But
no, you're catching me at a point in my life where I've had a little therapy. So if you caught me a few years ago, I would say I don't know I don't know anything about me, and I don't know what I can do, and I'm terrible and I stink. Now I go, you know what? Yeah, I know. I'm a talented guy. I paint.
Hey, I'm glad for you. It's really wonderful. And my friend Ellen, your book, we had you on to talk about your book. Tell me the name of it again, because it's Orthodox Family Greek.
It's called Special People, Godparents in the Orthodox Christian Faith. And it's a children's book. It's a picture book about the role of a godparent, of which I am one, and I'm very proud of it. So it's for the Orthodox Christian faith. I'm also a Sunday school teacher, so it's a sort of the thing that inspired me to do it.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Praise
you can get it. You can get it on the .com. Special People, Godparents in the Orthodox Christian Faith. And I read the book, and I have to tell you, it's not just about there's lessons to be gleaned beyond the Orthodox Christian faith about being good mentors and role models and how vital that is to children. And I think you're 1,400 people's godmother, right? Are you like?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. So you as well, you don't have children, but you have nieces and nephews. I also in the same way, and godchildren. And I just feel sometimes that, although I know Dave has 4 kids, that, even though we don't have children, especially sometimes for women, there's a little bit of a stigma. That doesn't mean that we don't aren't good influences on kids and we haven't affected their lives in a positive way. So that was another motivation to writing a book like that.
It's interesting because I probably told you my dark humor. This is how you deal as comics, but people don't like it. It's so bad. We were ordering a pizza one night, and the guy who's funny goes, "Okay, the name of your firstborn." I go, "Miscarriage," and he said, "Oh." I go, "No, don't be upset. There were 5 more." So. And somebody goes, "Do you know why you had so many?" I go, "Yeah, every time Keeping Up with the Kardashians got renewed, my kid killed itself." Dark, very dark, but that's how I deal, But I'm good. I'm good. I'm the oldest girl. I like my freedom. Come do what I want when I want. I know it's sick. I know you guys got to go. I want to ask you just another question, if I can, about Mrs. Maisel. And I'm wondering, there's this new thing called Clubhouse. It's like radio format. I've been on it. It's pretty cool. And I'm wondering if perhaps you would join me at some point, the 3 of you, and we'll revisit this in that format.
Absolutely. Some other technology I don't know how to use. Of course I'll be there.
It's
and Ken, would you do that?
Notifications. There's so many notifications I'm getting pinged.
Oh, you don't want to do it?
I would love to. With you, I mean, I got on here. Shecky pinged me, and I said, "You know what? I like Shecky," and then that's how I came on your Clubhouse show.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And I said, "You're coming on this show." That's right. Yeah. I've been playing around with it a bit, and Ellen, it's a fun format. I think it's a good format for doing. I
was going to try to stop at Instagram, but obviously I need to catch up. Every time I say I'm not going on another application, I go on another application. So
everybody's in Clubhouse. I mean, people are like, "I don't like to talk on the phone," so you talk to them on Clubhouse.
It's a very cool format. I have to tell you, I went kicking and screaming. I don't have time. I said, I don't have a lot of time to keep liking people I hate, because you always got to click. I'm like one more follow away from a restraining order. It gets to be a lot on me.
It's too stressful. I'm going to start the world's first anti-social media site. You join, and then you immediately unfriend everyone.
My friends who were landed roles on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, before, I wanted to just ask you this. We talked about a lot of different things, but I want to picture when you go in for your fittings. What is that like? Is it just like all this 1950s era clothing, and then the settings like on Riverside Drive or the Upper West Side. So tell me about, well, first, Ken, tell me where you were when they filmed your scenes. You were at the well, reiterate that.
Well, first of all, they did cut my hair, and which was
you're BSing?
No, they cut my hair.
Oh,
they cut my hair. I cut it short, and then on set, they said, "Do you mind if we snip it a little more?" I'm like, "You could put a Star of David in it. I don't know what you do. I'm glad to be on the show."
Yes, because you're a man, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
You grow really quickly.
But it was just when I was at the Navy Yard getting fitted, I was just amazed at it. Was like going back in time, and it made me look, because I was heavier then too, and it made me look so thin, except when they put it on camera. And then my ex-mother-in-law said, "Hey, we saw you on the Mrs. Maisel with my Jewish friend, and you looked all puffed up." But it was it's my ex-mother-in-law. You know,
you have a Southern anti-Semitic ex-mother-in-law?
She, accidentally anti-Semitic and does it. But it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and it was great to have my son going to school. Walking to school, and then he sees me on set and working with the other people, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's Dad!" And then some of the other actors went to talk to him, like, "Hey, Jacob, how you doing?" And it was great, and it really it hit me. My son is seeing me work a little bit or on my workplace.
That's awesomeness. And David, what about you when you went in to prepare for your role?
I had pants, and I tried the pants on. And some of the pants didn't fit, and then they found a pair of pants that fit, and we both agreed. We said, "These are the pants," and then I wore them, and that's the true story of my wardrobe fitting.
And you said it was downtown in the Slipper Room in Manhattan.
The scene was shot in the Slipper Room, which is a burlesque house in the.
I've been there.
Right?
Very cool. Yeah, it's very cool space.
That's where there was a lot of smoke, and that's the other thing too, is because. It's 1960 or whatever. So the audience at the club the extras in the audience are all smoking. This is 1960. So I'm old enough to remember when you would walk out on stage and you would be performing for a cloud of smoke right in front of you.
Wow.
Which of course I don't know if there's anywhere in America that you can smoke in a comedy club now, but it was like that. So it was a lot of smoke, and then they puff in atmosphere, which is. Something they put in the air to pick up the light. It looks great on camera. So between the smoke and the atmosphere and the lights, because it was a very hot room, and we were there all. It's a little scene, but it took 10 hours to shoot or whatever. We all had migraines by the end of the day. I mean, literally, it was awful. It was awful. It was a dreadful experience. And if they call, I'll tell them, "Go to hell. I'm not doing your damn show." What do you think of that?
Well, there are you should show them, David Konig. You're an artist. You're a fine artist. You don't have time for that now.
I don't have time for this nonsense.
It's funny. I did a gig in Carson City a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And when I go to the door, it's a small casino, any excuse for a casino. I don't like, but anyway, the door, it says, "Leave your guns outside." Okay. And then as soon as I walk in, I'm hit with 400 years of smoke, like Pall Mall unfiltered all over my face. And I'm like, I guess they just want you to die a slow death. That's your preference. Is a slow death.
Well, shooting this scene was like working in Carson City, Nevada, because it was a very smoky room, but it looks great on camera. I mean, the lights pick up the cinematography on the show is fantastic. In fact, the cameraman, when we were shooting the scene, he said he leaned into me. He said, "You're going to love this. You're going to love the way this looks." He was like the guy on the Men's Warehouse commercial. "You're going to love the way this looks." But the way the camera panned around, and it's just gorgeous. They do great stuff. So
I'll just show you guys a bit so you can see that if you're just tuning in now, my friends on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
No, but my wife is great. But get this, she's jealous of our toilet because I spend more time on it than I do on her. She says I should be more attentive in bed. Now I'm in bed. I'm not fast asleep. I'd say that's pretty damn attentive. Because it doesn't help much that I'm going bald on top, but I got hair growing out of the tops of my toes.
You want a drink? I'm good. This guy's nothing. You can.
This guy's nothing. Let's end on that. But no.
This guy's nothing. It's nothing. You know who's the best actors on the show? The extras in that audience laughing at those jokes. It was fantastic.
Well, your delivery was fucking perfect. I mean, I'm laughing. I spend more time on it than I do on her.
Yeah. It was really, And I love when you get off the stage and you're like, yeah, like it just.
Well, I mean, yeah, in the script, the scene, the dialogue just ends where it ends. And so I said, what do I do? Just get off the stage. I said, okay. So I'm getting off the stage and she's coming on and there was nothing. I ad-libbed my little moment. I kind of gave her a little, follow that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like every guy in comedy does, right? Like
there's another little bit.
Familiar.
Yeah.
What, Ellen?
It's very familiar.
Yeah, well, it was familiar. It was, but so Ellen, you were really, but you're the only woman on this. Well, I'm a woman, but of the three guests, you're the only woman who has been on. That was in the fittings. Was it different, the rooms there? There must have been so many cool hats and bags in the fitting rooms when you were getting fitted.
Yeah, I mean, because my role was very specific, they had the costume already waiting for me. Where I've gone to, like for The Irishman, that was.
Are you in The Irishman?
I was in The Irishman, and I will never get, that was at Silver Cup, and that warehouse, there was just an article in the New York Post, by the way, about that costume warehouse. It was tremendous. There was so much there. But when you go on set, they have the wardrobe sort of sectioned off. So you see, because everybody's coming in to put their wardrobe on, everybody's you have to be pre-fitted. It's not like you go there and they go, oh, we'll give you this shirt. And we'll give you
they have to do sizing and all that.
And it's all the period pieces, the jewelry. This last episode, I wore like one of those really thin watches with the black band, which was really cool.
All the little details.
Yeah, right, exactly, little details. I always have the earrings. So in my costume, in like the little baggie, they always have like my little earrings. And then the shoes that I wear. Last year, the shoes were horrific to walk in. This year, they're a little bit better. I remember my great-grandmother. They were my great-grandmother's shoes. I took a picture and I sent it to my sisters. I'm like, these are Yaya Thangelu's shoes. And they were like, oh my God. So it was crazy.
That was my great-grandmother.
And then there's the whole hair thing, which they spray and they shellac and they bobby pin. So when I come home, it takes me a half hour to get all the bobby pins out. And then when you wash something like that, you have to put conditioner on first, then get that all through, then you shampoo it, and then you condition it again. Like it's an hour shower.
An hour shower. Well, I have to say, I applaud the three of you for having roles on this. I think it's a wonderful coup. Ellen, if you don't put this on front and center on your website, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. I mean, these wonderful pictures you have of yourself and Mrs. Maisel. Look at these. This is my friend Ellen in her cute outfit as the waitress on Mrs. Maisel. And look at this, serving food to Alex and Rachel. I mean, look at that, Mrs. Maisel. And Susie. I can't get their names straight. Just one quick bit of advice, because we all slug it out. People watching will say, hey, how did you guys do it? Ellen, start with you. One bit of advice for someone.
Well, I'm sorry, a bit of advice about what?
Somebody's watching. How do I, get into what they're doing? What do I need to do? A bit of advice for anybody wanting to get into the business, whether it be comedy, acting. Don't.
Stick to accounting. You can start background. I mean, I know in New York City, at least I can speak to, all three of us are in the union, but they use a lot of non-union people.
They do.
So to do a lot of background work, anybody can submit, and there's a lot of websites like casting networks and Actors Access. And that to me would be one of, other than, if you really want to train, and obviously you need to go to acting classes, and we've all studied extensively for years. But if you really want to kind of get a feel or be in a background, there's plenty of places where you can go and just submit yourself and do that. And it's really cool because you get to be on the set and you get to see how things work. And I'm sure with these guys too, like I love being on a set, a film or a TV set. I still find it fascinating and very exciting to see how the sausage is made. So that's what I would say.
And Ken Perlstein, with your new pilot, ready to go, what do you say to people? Because you've done stand-up and you've done acting. So, well, we all have, but you've really gone into this direction with your filmmaking now.
I mean, it's certainly not easy, but my attitude was, I'm not going to, wait for casting. I'm not going to sit there and wait. I'm going to, and I was part of this, acting community a while back where people were writing short films, and that's how I started. I wrote a short film in a 48-hour challenge. And I said, you know what? I have this idea, and the way to do it is just take the bull by the horns, like you said earlier, and create it. Create a vehicle for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. And, sometimes we get discouraged. I'm speaking, I think I'm speaking for all of us, having been a broadcast journalist for many years, and how we slug it out doing comedy all over the place. And it's tough. And I'll hear some comedians, and I understand it. Oh, God, nobody's booking me. Nobody's hiring me. And I do my Hanging with Langan, which brings both worlds together. And it's not, this lucrative thing. It's all based on how do you make money on it, Maureen? Well, it's pay what you can as you can, if you can. That's all we do. It's all free. But please feel free to pay what you can as you can at PayPal and Venmo, since you asked. PayPal.me/Mo Langan and Venmo @Mo Langan. But it's nice because you connect with great people. And I've interviewed people who then hire me to corporate host or to moderate their events. So that's really where I put that out there for people looking for that. But we have to create it, whether it be a one-person show. Sometimes I want to go work at Trader Joe's. I'm not joking. Just for 20 hours a week, just to stock shelves and get price checks on things, just to relax my mind from always having to create. Mr. Konig, you're all over the place, Mr. Fine Artist, actor. Tell me, what is your bit of advice?
For what? For people who want to get in the show business?
Perform. Yeah. What would you say?
Do what I did, which is just have a crazy, just have a dysfunctional childhood, and then have a mother who shoves you into show business, become a child actor, then run away from home, and then start doing stand-up, and then keep showing up. And that's eventually, there are no guarantees.
There are no guarantees because there is no roadmap. If you go to get a master's degree and you want to go in the business world, there's a trajectory for that. But the one thing is to be around creative people. Look at what I have in front of me, these wonderful, talented friends of mine. So that's how it happens.
I'll say this, that
there he goes.
You can't get into show business for any reason other than there's nothing else you can do. You have to, if you're an actor, you got to act. If you're a comedian, you got to make people, you got to have to do this. If you don't have to do this, there's no reason to do this, and you should go do something else. But if you have to do this, then do this, and and hope for the best. But
I can tag that with, I did do something before this as a CPA, but this was always in my heart, and I had to do it. And I tell people, especially with stand-up comedy, it's like after a while, it's not a hobby. You have to make a decision, or else you need help, because it's professional help, because it's too hard. It's way too. It has to be a passion. You're absolutely right, Dave.
But when it works, it works. It's great. I mean, when it works, it's the best business. There's nothing like it.
But you got to be. But you know what? You got to be prepared to work. It doesn't happen overnight, and you have to be prepared for a lot of failure, a ton of rejection, whether it's stand up or acting. I mean, that's the way it goes. Even with a pilot, I had to raise the money, and it's a lot. There's so many things that go into it, and for a few months, it was in limbo, and I didn't have a team. I didn't have anybody.
How did you raise money? That's an interesting question, people.
I hate that crowdfunding.
We do it.
And plus, I put in a ton of money, my own personal money. And I've heard some people who say, "Oh, yeah, I wouldn't put in any money for my own project." Well, good for you. It's an investment.
Wouldn't put money in your own project. Wow, that's intense. Yeah. My advice is to dance with poles while you still have the body to do so. I was raised wrong. I was told to develop my brain. My mother was wrong. So I have to apologize. I'm not even going to apologize. I have to usually thank you. I don't usually go this long on the show. I had no idea.
How much money have we raised for the kids, by the way?
I'm the kid. So thank you. You guys spent an awful lot of time with me, and I didn't realize how long this has gone on. Thank you. I really
enjoyed it. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high.
I got to tell you my problem with that song. People are going to think I'm making fun.
Tell it to me on the next episode. I got to pee. It's been an hour and a half. I got to go.
All right, let you go. Bye, David. Thank you.
Bye.
when I was on the Jerry Lewis telethon, helping produce it, I thought, why do they sing "When You Walk Through a Storm" to people who are having issues? I don't like that song for them. That's terrible. Ken Perlstein, thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And my buddy Ellen Karis, I love you. Thank you, sweetheart.
Mo, I love you so much. You are just such a great friend. You are the best. I'm so talented, and I'm so blessed. And thank you for always being one of my number one cheerleaders.
I am your big cheerleader, and we're going to do this on Clubhouse, but I really had no idea we were gone this long. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. And everybody, I've got a podcast also, Karis Comedy Corner. Mo has been on it. I got to get you on again, too.
EllenKaris.com and Greek Chick Comedy. And tell us again the name of your podcast.
Karis Comedy Corner on everywhere podcasts are available.
Same here with Hanging with Lang. And thank you, my darling. Mwah. And you guys, I thank all of you. You know the routine. I will be here next week with interviewing the author of Women of the White House. The author is Amy Russo. We bring you good things, academics to alcoholics, curmudgeons, comics, cooks. It's all here on Hanging with Langan. And until we meet again, hold on, I gotta get my little thing. Bye, wig. Mwah.